you two have like both been into hard rock since like really, really young. And I wanted to just touch on how you both discovered your love for it. Tina, I believe it hit you when you were 9 years old.
9 years
Same as me,
old.
it was Def Leppard.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I was in the living room and there was a chart show on the television at the time. It wasn't Top of the Pops, it was the Roxy. And I think that might have come from Sheffield or somewhere up there anyway. And I just heard this sound and I just remember it clear as day, which is unusual for me. But I remember it. I just walked up to the television and just stood right in front of it. And it was Def Leppard. They were doing Animal on the Roxy chart show. And I just couldn't believe it. It was like a full on assault to my eyes and ears. I hadn't heard nothing like it before. And just addicted ever since then. It's like I'd found my thing.
What was it that was different? Had you like been listening to anything prior to that, just like pop music?
Rock music? No. Yeah, well, kind of Elvis for beginners. I was a big Shakin' Stevens fan.
I loved him. My first ever cassette was Shakin' Stevens Shaky.
Yeah. So I had my little vinyl 7 inches of Shakin' Stevens, and my mum used to work at a club called the Powerhouse in Birmingham, and the Cult were there, and God knows how old I was, 4, 5, 6, I don't know, but I had this vague memory of her taking me to work one day and accidentally stumbling into the Cult sound check. So that kind of vision kind of stuck with me, but then I didn't listen to them. It was Shakin' Stevens, and then next thing I knew, I heard Def Leppard on the telly, and I was like, yes, this is my calling.
Very cool. I mean, so what did your mum do at the Powerhouse? What?
She only worked in the office at the back. So yeah, me being the annoying little brat, I had to go to work with her in the school holidays. And I used to wander around the nightclub during the day, like, you know, skidding on the dance floor and pretending I was in the nightclub when it was empty. And yeah, I accidentally stumbled into the Cult one day. And I know, meant to be.
I don't know if it was the same for you, but like, I'd loved pop music when I was a kid, but then when I heard it's two bands like Def Leppard and Bon Jovi, to me it was the pop stuff, but it was also so heavy to me at the time. I was like, this is so weird. It's, to my young head, it's like, this is crazy heavy, but it's super melodic at the same time. So I was hooked.
It was the guitar sound that I'd been missing. When I heard the twin guitar sound, I was like, even at 9, I was like, what is this?
Everything off Hysteria was otherworldly anyway, so that just sounded larger.
There's still nothing like it to this day.
How about you, Caz? I think you were like just becoming a teenager when you got the bug, right?
How do you know all this stuff? Where is it? Is it
Everything's
somewhere on
out
the
there.
internet?
Everything's
Christ,
out
what
there.
else is there?
He's been going through our bins.
I'm a little bit nervous now, but yeah, for me, I think I was probably at high school because and you know what? I was looking for a thing. I knew I've always been passionate about music. I've always owned more music than any of my friends. So when I was a kid, I was massively into Duran Duran and used to buy loads of music, save up all my pennies, and pretty much all my money's always ever gone on music stuff, apart from clothes as well. But music stuff. And the rock thing came about. I'd just randomly stumbled across Kiss Crazy Nights when it charted and bought the single because I was always buying singles as well. And I liked it. I mean, well, I loved it, but that wasn't the turning point. It was just after that. And if I'm being honest, it started with going out and underage drinking, going to a little disco, giving some older looking person a bit of money, getting some booze. And basically I started hanging around with, I suppose, I'm not going to call them a dodgy crowd, but there was a little rock crowd in Bromsgrove.
A little bit dangerous.
Yeah, me and my friends started hanging around with them, and they were older boys and stuff. You know what girls are like in their teenage years. And basically when we started going in the pubs, though, it was mainly live music and rock music, and I realised that was my thing. So Kiss Crazy Nights, Crazy Nights was the first single I bought. Def Leppard Hysteria, first album I bought. And I remember the whole Bon Jovi Europe grand debate. What should be, what should be number one, and all of that. And yeah, so I think it was really Iron Maiden, Def Leppard, Bon Jovi. Those were the bands that really got me into it. But I think it felt like home. It felt really comfortable.
Yeah.
And it was partly to do with the fact that I wasn't just experiencing it by listening to it. I was out there seeing live music, hearing it being played at a venue, and it became part of my lifestyle. And then it was the clothing, because I wanted to look a bit older because I was going into pubs. So then I started wearing black and stuff like that. And so it all sort of became one thing that I loved and never gave it up. And the strange thing is, when I look, I'm still connected to some of my friends from back then, and almost without exception, all of them moved away from the rock scene, and I didn't. I stuck with it and got more and more and more involved, bought more music, went to more gigs, and here we are DJing now.